Look, I be riding through my old hood, but I'm in my new whip. Same old attitude, but I'm on that new shit. They say they gon' ride me, see me never do shit, cause they know that's the reason they gon' end up on the news clip. Audemars on my wrist, bust down. We popping bottles like I scored a winning touchdown.
Cool, new day, new podcast, new settings. We are currently in Philadelphia. I want to give a big shout out to our guy Denny, who's driving right now. We've just been having a long conversation about the differences in the US and how bad the UK is really and truly. I think this is now, correct me if I'm wrong, Denny, this is now the entrance of Philadelphia, right? This
Yes,
is
yes.
Okay, there we go, that's the toll. Philly, doing a podcast with Roman Sharf from Luxury Bazaar, and then after that we are going to see the guy George Saliba from J&S Auto House. How would you say it in America? House. There we go. Now I feel like a proper American citizen, sitting in the Cadillac, driving to the destination. But yeah, we'll catch up with him there.
The artist that painted it is actually became a good friend of mine. I met him after I bought this car. He sent me a DM. He's like, Roman, I've been watching all your shit on YouTube. Can't believe you bought the car I painted. But yeah, it took a minute to figure out how to get this all done. But so what do we got here? We got sales, we got marketing, we got a few people out of office in Hong Kong right now at a trade show.
How sick is this?
Yeah, so this guy, Piggy Banks, he actually made these custom. So he made that card.
Yeah.
Right, which is Grand Prix Auto. I'm a big Formula One fan.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
ever notice? Yeah. And then one of my graphic designers made this design, and he's like, "Bro, I'll make them for you." So this is my team.
What Formula One team do you support?
Can you not tell?
Yeah, no, I didn't say this to be fair. I didn't think to say this.
All right.
That was good. There we go.
No, my favorite thing is like every time I'm in London, and it's a very common saying, "Hey, Roman, you all right?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what, guys? I'm so happy and I'm so touched by the fact that everybody's worried about my well-doing. Yeah. Can I just tell you all for the record, I'm fucking fine, all right? I'm doing well, I'm feeling great, I'm good. You're all right, every single person. I'm like, yes, I'm fine.
That's just how we greet each other. You all right, mate?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I know this, and obviously I made fun of it because of that, but it's the same thing every time. You're all right.
Podcast all set up right now. I've got Roman right here, the main man.
Yeah, what I should have done is I should have given him a fancier watch to wear. It's all right.
Do you know what? I didn't bring any watches from the UK because I was skeptical of how the US is.
US is perfectly fine.
Yeah, because UK we can't wear it in central London. We'll just get robbed.
Oh, I know.
So
I know. Last time I was in London, we almost did get robbed. Actually, one of our YouTube blogs, I had there's a moment where we're in Haddon Gardens, and it's five of us, five guys and one girl, and we're in front of a shop of a guy I do business with, and all of a sudden my friend Paul Thorpe comes over quietly to me. He goes, "Roman, we have to go now." I said, "What the fuck are you talking about? Where do I have to go?" I was in the middle of doing a deal with a guy. We were in the shop, and then we came out because the watch I was looking at was in the window. He goes, "We've been spotted or marked or something." I said, I was like, "Let's leave, I'll explain." He said a fellow walked over to us, made a circle around us. I didn't pay attention because I was doing a deal with a guy, and walks across the street, pulls out his phone, starts texting. He's like, "Somebody's going to come here in short amount of time, they're going to tail us."
That was a setup.
Because of the watches and stuff.
Yeah.
So we left Haddon Gardens a different way.
Yeah.
And it was a little sketchy. Problem is in America, I'm always like,
strapped up, yeah.
Please. But with you guys, it's unfortunate. Yeah. But let's get to the podcast anyway.
So how did the podcast go?
Podcast was honestly sick. A lot of value in that for the people in the audience. And yeah, I'm just taken back by how sick this office is and how cool Roman is as a person as well. But yeah, no, a lot of business knowledge in there. So you lot need to check that one out.
You boys are from London. I'm going to leave you a few basic rules.
Sweet, let's see.
A gun will never shoot if you do what?
If this safety?
No, just don't put your finger on the trigger.
Okay, yeah, don't put the finger on the
trigger.
trigger.
It will never shoot if you don't have a finger on the trigger, right? Yeah. And the other thing is, whether the gun is empty or full, just don't point it at anybody.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to give you a gun that's loaded.
Yeah.
But Pennsylvania, we have very lax gun laws. I mentioned to you on the podcast stopping power of a 45. This is a 45 millimeter. And this is what this bullet looks like. So if a bear is coming at me, it will stop him dead in his tracks.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to, and now this gun is empty, so I can go ahead and show you this. Right? And when I do, I always look in the chamber. This is number one rule to say, just put your finger in there.
Yeah.
None in there. Now I'm gonna notice I'm not pointing at you still, even though I know this gun is empty. And I was like, this is a silencer. So when I shoot this gun and I shoot this bullet, you'll barely hear it.
Yeah.
But that's not because I'm trying to be an assassin. It's because if you're in a closed room and I set that round off right now, your ears will fucking ring.
Yeah.
So this is a gun that will stop anybody dead in their tracks.
Are you giving me that to hold, or?
You can hold it. It's fine. Like I said, just don't point it at me.
No, of course not.
And don't put your finger on the trigger. And guess what? Even though we know it's empty and there's no bullets in there and blah, 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 it's still basic gun safety, right?
I was gonna say, so does this act like almost like a
So
red
when you
dot
get
sight?
old, when you get to be my age,
Yeah.
this is called iron sights.
Yeah, iron
And
sights.
this is called a red dot.
Yeah.
And when you get to be my age,
yeah, you're on the red dot.
I said, notice I wear readers.
Yeah.
So now I outfitted all my guns with.
Yeah.
I outfitted all my guns with red dots because I can see better. So this is a gun you want to have readily available to you. And if you ever watch movies, you'll notice people holding their guns like this, right?
Yeah.
The finger's not on the trigger,
Yeah.
it's here.
Yeah.
That's called trigger discipline. As I'm waving the gun, notice I know there's no bullet in the chamber.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
gun will not shoot.
Yeah.
But I'm still never going to point it at you just in case.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you want to do a little bit more rock and roll,
Why do I feel nervous?
and if you got a bunch of people,
I feel nervous about this.
and if you want to go a little crazier, this is, the gun that's known to be the dangerous gun, the AR, right? It's actually, it's not any more dangerous than any other gun that you'll find out there, right? And again, what I do is I'm going to clear the gun and make sure there's nothing in there. This is fully automatic.
Yeah.
So there are 30 rounds in this magazine.
Yeah.
It takes 3.6 seconds for them to fly out of here if I hold the trigger.
whole
down.
mag.
The whole magazine. If I go full auto,
Yeah.
because you have auto,
Yeah.
semi, and safe, right?
Yeah.
So this is just one shot at a time.
Yeah.
And this is what we call the fun switch.
Yeah.
Because it goes brrrr.
Yeah.
Again, I have a silencer on it. Everything here is custom outside of just the bottom part here. The bottom part is the original Colt M16A1, same gun that's used in the military today. I changed the upper, this, that, and everything else because I like to outfit my guns a certain way.
Alright, here's my question for my Call of Duty Modern Warfare knowledge. When it's on full auto, how much recoil is it that you got to control?
So it's not about controlling recoil. Full auto, it's about controlling the rise. So as the bullets are going down, the gun rises.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
what you
yeah.
want to do is you push into it to compensate.
Yeah.
This isn't Call of Duty. This is
No, of course, yeah. And what's this
real
on the end? This attachment?
shit. So this is a silencer.
No, just this one here.
So that's a flashlight.
Okay, that's flashlight.
Okay. So I outfitted with a flashlight. So
Yeah.
see that?
And then you've got like an ACOG sight.
This is same thing.
Yeah.
Of course, batteries can die on this. So
Yeah.
still, this thing
Oh, it's battery
still,
powered as well, is it? Okay.
yeah, this still has regular sights.
Yeah.
Which I can flip up.
Yeah, just in case you need it.
Exactly.
Do you know when you get to master prestige level?
Sometimes I put the one I have on like this at home, where these sights are on the side.
Yeah.
So as I look through that, if it fails, I can go like this.
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw that in your video game as well. Or in
That's
the movies.
nuts. I'm from the UK, man. All we have is to
you
compare it
guys-
to Call
you
of
guys-
Duty.
You guys can have baseball bats. That's about it.
Yeah.
And I think even that. is
Even
fine.
then, the police will take that from us.
And of
We
course-
can't even have baseball bats nowadays. These like I'm full on AR-15s.
Call this one my zombie killer. This is a short shotgun.
Yeah, that looks.
This will make a hole. This will take your head off.
Yeah.
Literally.
No doubt.
And I actually had it custom redone. See, it looks like a zombie gun.
Yeah.
See, it looks like it's old. It's been sitting for a
Yeah.
while. So this was I had a gunsmith to do this just because I thought it would look fucking badass, and it does. Right?
Question: Why the shell's green at the top?
That's just the color of the shell. It's just
Okay.
a specific round.
Okay.
And then if that fails, you can always take a tomahawk to the head. Right? So, actually, this is a throwing axe. You see, Evan.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
tell I can throw it. I'm actually pretty good at throwing axes as
Yeah.
well. If something were to go down, I just grab a grab bag. I grab my fully automatic rifle, and this grab bag is obviously. So this is a 9mm. This is a gun that I would carry on me. And again, empty. So this. Now you see the difference in that bullet and that one. Just a 9mm. Big difference, right?
Yeah. So which one's more powerful? The 45?
Of course.
Yeah.
But this is also what's called a hollow point.
Yeah.
So what happens is that enters a mass.
Yeah.
That bullet does this.
Oh, okay.
So
it spreads out.
so the entry wound is this big. The exit wound is this big. Not the funnest thing to get shot.
What
So-
about like explosive rounds? I know that's the thing.
So explosive rounds you can have you can in Pennsylvania own a grenade launcher legally. The problem
RPG.
is what the full auto and the silencers, it's known as class 3 weapons, right?
Yeah.
For which you have to send an application to the ATF. You then get a stamp. It's a little stamp, takes about 9 months to a year to allow you to have that weapon. Problem is that so often you see a grenade launcher that can be attached to the bottom.
Yeah.
It's called the M203. I'm sure you know that from Call of Duty. where you go, boom, right?
Yep. Nuke tube.
And it has, there you go, and it has 2 rounds. It has highly explosive rounds and armor-piercing rounds,
Yeah.
which is basically grenades
Yeah.
that go outside of your gun. Each one of those grenades, the cost of them is about $600. On top of that, each stamp, when you get a stamp for that gun, it's $200. Well, now they raised the price, I think, to $300 or something. So let's say if you bought a grenade launcher, now you bought a stamp that cost you, let's say, $300. for every round that you buy, you have to get a stamp. So the round is $600 plus the stamp, so it's $1,000 every time you set that off. Then you have to take the shell and you have to turn it in to show people that you shot it, that it's done, and they know it's no longer there.
So it is an expensive hobby as well, by the looks of it.
It can be a very expensive hobby, but also it can be one of the least expensive hobbies.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite. This is for my fully automatic gun that I just showed you.
So that was a 36 round that you had there. What's this one?
That's a 30 round. This is 60.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
okay, so double capacity.
And this thing will, like I said, I can let all these rounds off in under 10 seconds.
So,
if I go brrr, it doesn't work. That's only in the movies. Rolling over and shooting, only in the movies. This, only in the movies. There's a certain, all the shit you see in the movies, or in Call of Duty is pretty realistic. I'm not a gamer, but I've seen people play it. It is pretty realistic when it comes to certain guns and things like that. But it's still only video games. So I have a ton more. I have a ton of ammo at any given time. There's another rifle back there with a silencer.
Serious question, Roman.
Yeah.
Is it just like a store that you go to just say, you know what, I want this AR-15?
Right across the street.
Really?
Buddy of mine owns it. You can go in there. You have a driver's license. Obviously, there's a background check.
Yeah.
You have a criminal record. You're not getting shit. Actually, if you have a criminal record and because every time you buy a gun, you fill out an application.
Yeah.
Right. In that application, there's a certain questionnaire, mental illness.
The whole lot, basically.
And if, let's say, you have committed a crime and you have a criminal record and you answer no, and they run it and it comes back that you do have a criminal record, that's a federal law you just broke and you go to jail because you're lying in a federal application.
Do you think we should have guns in the UK?
Absolutely, you should. You got cops that will run around without guns.
Yeah.
Okay, they have clubs. How many videos you see online? These cops are being made fun of. You guys are kicking them because there's really not much they can do about it. Because you have a special police that has guns. What kind of shit is that? It's like having a military with baseball bats.
The UK is finished when it comes to crime rate. Just imagine what it's like with guns on the streets. I mean, the guns are already on the streets, but not as accessible as.
Can I ask you a question?
Go on, please.
I'm walking down Hatton Gardens. Last time I was in London, I usually stay at the Grosvenor House, Mayfair.
Yeah.
Two guys send me a DM. Hey Roman, been following your content for a while. I know you're in London, I know you're busy running around. Is there any way, shape, or form I can get 20 minutes of your time just for a little bit younger starting out? I looked at their Instagram, I see young kids.
Yeah.
I said, all right, come to the Grosvenor House, I'll have some tea with you. I know I'm not English, but I actually love tea. So we're sitting downstairs in the lounge, having tea. Two Indian guys come up, start talking. They have an office, Berkeley Square, Ferrari, Bentley, right? Yeah. And they took an office somewhere upstairs. And said, can't really do much in terms of YouTube, Instagram. Every time we leave the office, we take everything off of our wrists before we go home. Yeah. It's very difficult to attain clients. We approach people that we see have nice watches because we're brown, they jump back and they get scared, right? Even though we say, no, here's our business card, we're in the same business. In case you need anything, look us up, this is who we are. And they said, how do I go about growing my business? And after I sat and spoken with them for 20 minutes, you know what my advice to them was? Get the fuck out of London.
Let us know in the comments, what do you think? Should we have guns in the UK? We're still trying to figure that one out.
Vote yes.
Vote yes, there we go.
If you are you married?
No.
Okay, you're not married. I'm married and I have 3 children. Philadelphia is not the safest place on earth. In fact, I'm a little upset because we're number 2 in the murder rate after Chicago.
Really?
Philadelphia. But I can tell you, if you want to go visit Philadelphia, don't go to that neighborhood or don't go to that neighborhood.
Yeah.
But if I am somewhere and a criminal runs up at me and threatens my life or my wife's life, or God forbid my children's life, I want to have the means to protect myself. Yeah. And the fist is not always enough.
Yeah, I'm strapped up, ready to go. That's how I get it. Now that I'm speaking to you, I understand it.
Because a lot of people have a misconception about guns, like, oh, these gun-ho Americans, and all they have itchy trigger fingers and so on and so forth. I promise you, in 30-some years of my life that I've owned a gun, I've been in a hairy situation, and I've done everything and anything not even pull the gun, but to even let the other person know that I have a gun on.
Yeah, I think Roman's convinced me. I think we need straps in the UK. I think it works. But look, we've spoken about guns. Now let's go on the other end and get the cars.
Yeah, we're not in the gun business. We're in the watch business. Yeah. Follow me.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I completely forgot about the watches. What is your favorite brand for watch?
When they announced the Black Panther watch, if you remember the purple one, this was a promotional statue that they made. But it looks fucking scary, doesn't it? Look at the eyes.
It looks sick.
And at night, this lights up. Actually, you can't see it now, but all these things. That's why you have like a black light there. Yeah. So when the lights are off, this whole thing lights up with like purplish color. Yeah. And his eyes are actually pretty real.
That fully does look like
Yeah.
Because if you got close, you could still see like the red veinish.
No, they did a phenomenal job. This is what he would look like in the movie in terms of a suit.
Yeah.
And you know, how many times I scratch myself on these fucking claws? They're actually pretty sharp. Yeah, please. I've walked by and just like,
your head gets stabbed.
yeah. I know that Natalie, who's head of logistics, is in the midst of doing inventory. So if I go in there, she's going to cut my balls off. Yes, I am the owner of a company, but I only go into my vault with her permission, and that's not a joke. The reason for that is because you have to have a tight control and stuff. I'll bring a couple of things out for you to see, but it's kept track of. So I just grabbed an AP tray, for example, but you'll notice this, right? So that's a stock number. You'll notice there's the same ticket on the watch itself, right? For example, right? So if I were to come in here with her permission and say, okay, Natalie, I need to take this watch upstairs, or anybody else, what she'll do is she'll take this, log it onto whoever took it. It goes upstairs, and you scan it. You can scan
you got
it.
a proper system in place.
Oh, I'm all about systems. And then the box and papers are also tagged with the same tags. See, I fucked this up. Put it on the wrong side.
Do you have it organized? For example, if you scan that watch, you know where that box is and stuff like that.
Of course. That's the whole point. Everything is electronic. Everything is done in a way where nothing gets lost.
Yeah.
Right. Now this is watches, so she knows on a daily basis where everything is in the stock because it moves around. Social media, it moves around. It goes to one salesperson.
Isn't it?
Aiden will come in and say, "I'm pulling watches for, like, let's say, the sales team."
Yeah.
She'll know exactly what he pulled, exactly when. At the end of the day, here's the other thing: if this shit doesn't come back nicely wrapped and there's a tiny hairline or a scratch, she physically hurts people. She's originally from Siberia, so don't fuck around with Natalie. Is what I'm saying. This is a real vault.
I was gonna say because I was looking at this exactly how I imagined.
So vaults are rated. And this is rated UL 45. What that means, in layman's terms, it's no secret. Most people have the same. Is it would take a professional with tools and a torch 45 minutes to open it if I were to lock myself out.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say we forgot the combination or whatever, something happened, something glitched. I call in a professional. It would take him 45 minutes, and he would need proper tools and a torch to get this damn thing open. And it's also surrounded by 6 feet of concrete this way and a couple of feet of concrete every other way. So
crazy.
Anybody wants to break in, good luck. Just remember the gun safe out upstairs.
You know, I'm a really big sucker and fan of systems and processes in place to make sure everything runs smoothly. Of course. But I try to implement it as much as possible, but just to see stuff like that with the tags and make sure you know who's got what.
I even went as far one time to, I was thinking about implementing RFID. You know what that is?
No.
So RFID, you ever buy something, you peel a sticker off and you see what looks like a little antenna on the back? That's RFID. So it's literally a radio signal, right, that can be read by scanners. So imagine you have a tray of jewelry and it has 50 rings in it. You put it in this scanner that looks like a microwave, and it tells you exactly what's on that tray, and you can export it to Excel or a program or whatever.
Yeah.
You can also do that, put the frames in here. So let's say I pick up a watch and it has an RFID tag, and I walk through here, it knows that Roman Sharf, because I was the one that walked into the vault, I scanned my badge. Because everything, see these things?
Yeah.
So let's say let's say this door is closed and I'm with my thing and I scan through, then I scan to open the door to the safe. I take something, I come out of there, it automatically reads that a Roman Sharf scanned in at such a time. They removed that. It was expensive and it wasn't worthwhile because inventory moves so fast.
Yeah, there's no
it's
point.
not really a safety thing.
Yeah.
It was more of a convenience thing, and I said, you know what?
Here's a question, because all the watches are in the safe. How much do you think the value is in the boxes? Because I noticed obviously that's
Well, boxes are also in a secure place.
But boxes, I understand from my...
And it's a fireproof place. So this building used to be owned by a bank.
Oh, is it?
So they had a secure, call it closet, for records, paper records, which was fireproof. And that's the room that we use for box and papers. Because there is quite a lot of value in the box and papers. You can devalue a watch very, very quickly.
So, Roman, gold pair of sneakers, what's this about?
It's a long story. Yeah, we Google my name, Roman Sharf, and then sneakers. You'll see a bunch of articles from Fox News, New York Times, Philadelphia Inquirer. I got interviewed by the Hindustan Times. I got people that flew from Japan who asked about this. Long story short, my son comes home to Philadelphia to a sneaker convention. A couple of days before, he gets announced that Trump is going to be there, announcing a sneaker drop, right? And he dropped these golden sneakers.
Oh, Trump dropped these?
Yes, he dropped 1,000 pairs of these at the event. It was his way to, this is before he was elected, this is his way to reach out to a young demographic, right? Sneakerheads.
Was this for his first election?
This was this.
Oh, this election just won now.
This was this election.
Yeah.
Now, for me, my son comes down from Miami. It's a day for me to spend with my boy. I love my son to death, and I also love sneakers. I'm a sneakerhead, over 100 pairs of sneakers. Luckily, for me, my son is in a business, so I don't pay rate for them, right?
Yeah.
So, long story short, we're like, oh shit, Trump is coming. He comes in, he does a speech, blah, 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 blah. They drop sneakers. I go online. I order a pair because I knew they were going to sell out right away. They were $400. One of my employees was there with me because he's friends with my son. And he comes like, Roman, come back to the stage. They're doing an auction. He starts screaming and gets all excited. I'm like, what are you talking about? He says, come back.
I come back and another guy is sitting there and they're auctioning off. Now in sneakers, you have regular editions of sneakers and you have friends and family. So usually when they drop a new line, they'll do a friends and family, which is a very limited amount. So if a regular pair of sneakers that's hot is, let's say, $500, a friends and family pair can be $5,000 because they're all numbered. So they dropped 50 pairs that were friends and family, but two of them were signed by him. So an auction starts, bidding starts. In my head, I'm thinking, I know the value of things. I'm also not a careless spender. They got to be worth at least 10 grand. So I bid it all the way up to $9,000 and I won. Meanwhile, everybody's got phones. Some lady comes up to me on Twitter. Some other guy comes up to me and says, hey, how much did you pay? What'd you win? This, that, and the other. I'm like, yeah, I won these and I'm going to wear these when he wins in November. I come to the booth. My son goes, how much did you pay? I said, 9 grand. He's like, you crazy? 3 minutes later, the guy comes up. He's like, I'll give you 12 and a half of them right now. I said, no, thank you. It's not why I bought them. I want to keep them. My son looked at me and he's like, Dad, you should sell them, man. But anyway, fast forward, all hell breaks loose. On next thing you know, phones start ringing off the hook in the office. My phones don't ring much. Most of our business is done.
WhatsApp
text. That's how nobody calls you, right? Phones are ringing off the hook, everything. And I realized what's going on. So story gets published. The one lady that posted me had 2 million followers on Twitter. I don't even use Twitter. So I got 16,000 followers overnight. Next thing you know, I'm being labeled. Man pays $9,000 for a pair. Everything was anti-Trump there. For $9,000 for a pair of gold sneakers. Then they find out I'm Russian speaking. A Russian man pays $9,000 for a pair of Trump sneakers. Then it goes to Russian oligarch buys $9,000 pairs of sneakers. Is this a new way to money launder money from Trump to Putin? Like you know how they go with the story. And your Daily Mail UK fucking website is the one that dubbed me the Russian oligarch, and that I'm basically money laundering money for Trump to go to Vladimir Putin. I go on my Instagram like, oh, you want to fuck with me? I have my own social media following, and I make a video explaining, hey, this is who I am, this is what I did, and I'm a U.S. Army veteran. One lady on Twitter dubbed me some Russian asshole that's basically moving money to Vladimir Putin because the Ukrainian war. And I said, honey, I don't mean to burst your bubble. I said, I'm from Ukraine myself. And when the war started, I donated over $350,000 for the effort in Ukraine through my charity, which is true. They looked it all up. They started retracting all the statements because I could sue them. I got a phone call from 100 attorneys about this. So guys, I'm not suing anybody. It's definitely, I'm on YouTube. I said, the comments I get, this is peaches in comparison to some of the shit that people say about me on YouTube, right? I'm like, I'm okay, I'm good. Because the attorneys wanted exposure because this story went worldwide. Literally, people flew in from Japan to interview me about this shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? Then I get a phone call. I'm like, hey, I'm such and such. I'm the executive aide to the president. How would you like to meet the president? Oh, shit, yeah? Sure. Like, all right, well, we're going to be at CPAC in Maryland in a week. This Saturday, why don't you come up? Done. Next, I get a phone call on Tuesday. Said, hey, this is such and such again. I think that Maryland is going to be a little crazy. Could you come up to Florida? I'm like, are you in Miami? Like, I'm in Philadelphia. Like, could you come up to Florida to meet the president? And Mar-a-Lago at his golf course. I said, sure. When? Like, tomorrow. Done. I said, I asked for one thing. Like, what's that? I said, can I bring my son with me? Sure. A long story short, I call Amex to get my ticket. I call my wife. I'm like, yo, we don't have any plans tomorrow. She's like, no, why? What's up? He's like, I'm going to go meet the president. She's like, get the fuck out of here. Because I'm always messing around. I'm like, no, I am. She's like, I don't believe you. I'm like, yeah, I am. I booked my tickets. Driver's picking me up in an hour. I call my son. I said, hey, cancel your plans for tomorrow. We have a place in Sunny Isles. He lives in Brickell. I said, meet me in Sunny Isles. At 9 a.m., we're going to drive to Mar-a-Lago to meet the president. My son's like, okay, whatever. Didn't believe me. I land in Florida at night, like 11 o'clock. I call him up. I'm like, you remember you have to be in Sunny at night. He's like, oh, you weren't bullshitting. I was like, no, I just landed. We're going to meet the president tomorrow. He's like, no fucking way. So put on a suit. Let's go. We'll pull up to the golf club. And I'm thinking, 1 minute, shake his hand, take a picture, go away. No. I sat down. It was his lunchtime. He just finished playing 18 rounds of golf. We sit down, 2 hours. We're having lunch. Me, him, my son, what's his name? Andrew Giuliani, Rudy Giuliani's son was there. A couple other guys that I didn't know who they were, but that's where I met Charlie Kirk. May he rest in peace, by the way. And yeah, we had a 2-hour lunch, and this was the result. Here you go. It's me, my son. Notice the shameless plug. My son put on a suit with his hype T-shirt underneath, right? And I brought the sneakers with me. Yeah. He then signed this hat with that pen. Yeah. He actually signed a few hats for me. Yeah. I gave one to my son. He has one in his apartment. I kept one, and I gave one to the kid that worked for me that screamed and yelled, come back and buy these sneakers. Yeah. So $9,000 sneakers turned into what, $10 million worth of free publicity.
I was gonna say,
but most importantly, we leave 2 hours later, and I asked my son. I said, Marcus, I said, is there anyone else I can get you to meet?
Yeah.
My son goes, you know what, Dad, this was gonna be a little fucking tough to beat. You know, it's an experience he's gonna remember for the rest of my life, and myself as well. I've had stupid offers on these sneakers. I said, if
really and truly, after you said the story, it's priceless. Really,
it is priceless. I've been offered $42,000 for them.
Yeah,
and I turned it down because to me it's priceless memory. And if I were to ever sell them, I would probably put them in auction and donate the money to charity.
So we literally just wrapped up the podcast with Roman Sharf. Absolutely shattered. I'm so glad we are in the Escalade because this is pure comfort. Seat laying back, and we're about maybe 10 minutes away from doing the second podcast with George Saliba. You would have seen his content online, but literally I thought I'd catch a quick 10-minute kip and then crack on with the second podcast. But yeah, doing 2 podcasts in a day is a lot. A lot of people think that it's nothing, but talking for that amount of time can.
Would you say the travelling's making you a little bit tired as well?
Yeah, travelling, it can make you tired,
but it's all worth it for the content.
We will literally just think about this right now. How rappers manage to do tours and still have energy to go on stage every single time. That's mental. Right, and just like that, a successful day is now done. Content bagged. We are back here. It's been a 13-hour day. I'm absolutely shattered, and we are here. We were meant to get food with Umar Ashraf later on, go to a steakhouse or something like that. However, we got back late, so you know where we ended up. Make sure you like, subscribe, stay tuned for more content in America.